I'm going to share this screen, but I'm actually going to jump to another one really quickly. So we've had a lot of questions as we've gotten started here on how to structure programs. Now, this is the one example that I covered last time that I'm going to cover again, excuse me, just because we keep getting questions on this. So the questions would be, how do we structure an offer? How do we structure a program, right? And if you're looking at Altus Performance here, this is a great group of coaches out in Texas. It's Cameron McCormick, who coaches Jordan Spieth amongst many other people. And they have the Altus Anywhere program. And let's see if we can actually zoom in on this a little bit. There we go. So you're going to see that they have these different programs here: Altus Anywhere, Essential, Complete, Competitive, and Collegiate Services. So I wanted to tee this one up one more time because although it's just a PDF, it's very simple. It explains all the different offers that they have. And I want to make sure that as you guys leave this call, you understand that you can maybe structure a few different packages about your remote coaching. Now, you're going to see here that they do it all monthly or annually, right? You're not seeing anything that's going to be a pay per interaction, and that is key, right? To be honest, nothing drives me more crazy than seeing all you great coaches out there doing, exchanges, like exchanging time for money, especially in this kind of environment. It's imperative that anything that you do as a first touch point with a potential student results in a long-term coaching relationship, right? That way they're on the hook for monthly fees. They have their coach in their pocket, so they're winning. And for you, you have a consistent level of income that you can project over time versus always hunting down for that one random swing analysis, right? So anybody that's on this call is using Coach Now or is thinking about it, remember, okay, we need to be creating win-win business relationships with everybody. You're not going to fix somebody's golf swing in five minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you shouldn't be charging as such. All right. So now you're seeing one swing analysis a week for $65 a month. Then you're seeing these development check-ins, monthly training plans, $150 a month. Then you're seeing the competitive side where it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And then they have the collegiate services here. But if we go back to the competitive, you're seeing a pretty decent monthly rate or an annual bill, right? And these are all things that everyone on this call is fully capable of doing, because ultimately Coach Now is not just about or remote coaching, I should say, is not just about, a quick fix, like I've been saying. It's about building a long-term relationship. So really have that focus on the relationship side, and you're going to be able to really execute on the remote coaching. So as we do that, a couple of coaches gave me permission here to look at their websites. One in particular gave me permission to kind of beat it up a little bit. And I know it's actively being worked on. But Jordan Young here was nice enough to let me critique his website because he was asking a bunch of questions. And I know it's a work in progress because he's actually got somebody in the background working on it right now. But I want to focus on something that I think is really key about Jordan's website that I do like, is that right up front and center, he's got remote coaching, right? He's promoting it. He's also got a team here from Coach Now that he's launched, and this just launched as a direct link. Jordan, I am noticing this link actually is a little outdated probably because it references Edufy from way back. So make sure you check that link. So that's one quick tip, right? If you got links, make sure they're all accurate. We've had those problems on our side as well. But I think as we scroll through here, you're seeing some information about Jordan, you're seeing some of the certifications, you're seeing some testimonials, and you're seeing a lot of the technology that he works with. And all this stuff is very good. The thing that I want to highlight that I think we all can get better at is less tabs and less subtabs, right? Because ultimately, you're going to have somebody very confused when there's so many things for them to look at, right? So if you have a specific CTA, or call to action, as they say, especially during this crazy time, hammered in on what you want them to do, right? So they don't need to give them your whole background, your whole story about every single thing that you've ever offered in your life. I want to start to see a lot of these sites that you're promoting your remote coaching on to get hyper focused, right? Them to do versus all these different services that you offer, right? Especially right now, because all of this isn't even available, right? So just kind of think about this even beyond the quarantine here that we're in, that ultimately you want people to drive to one thing or two things or three things at most, okay? So if you want them to connect with you and reach out to inquire about booking a session when we get out of this, or if you want them to book a remote coaching session, have those as the focal points and try to have less things for them to discover, because they're just going to get lost and then eventually bounce off the page anyway. All right, so let's jump into here. This is another great site here from Bobby Walia down in Australia. I do want to focus on the remote coaching side because he does have the tab right up there. Again, I would still say let's keep an eye on how many tabs we ultimately have. But I did want to focus on this because I feel like he's done a nice job of laying out his pricing here, right? So he's got these different offers that he's giving people, and he's got this pay-as-you-go model here, which again is not necessarily what I'm looking for, but excuse me. Jeez. Sorry guys, losing my voice here. So what you're seeing here though is really cool because he's got this pay-as-you-go model as the middle tier from his free. And what he's really going to be trying to do is leverage this subscription option, right? He's going to be pushing people into here. And he's got a money back guaranteed. He's got some graphics that we provided. And again, you can grab these graphics off of our homepage at coachnow.io. Go all the way down to the design tab and you can get access to everything you need. And so he's doing a good job of promoting specifically what he wants to do on this page. You're also seeing a message here about what he's doing during this tricky time. So he's keeping the website updated, right? My commitment to you. Are you still able to teach, right? So he's doing all these things to make sure that people fully know what he's doing during this crazy time. And he's promoting his online academy that's coming soon. So again, everybody is fully capable of doing at least some of this coaching. And if you want to do some more canned content, right, pre-recorded content, you can deliver that in a team, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. Or you can just deliver it literally on your website behind a button and just have a bunch of YouTube links, right? So you can decide to deliver whichever way that you like. I like to make it more of an interactive learning community rather than just stuff that's sitting there, but that's just me. So if we jump to here, I don't speak this language, but this particular coach has been pumping a lot of stuff on Instagram, and I think he did a really nice job of highlighting, boom, online coaching. It's very obvious what's happening here. I'll give you all the language because I don't know, but I'm looking, hey, that's a testimonial for sure. And then a 1, 2, 3, right? And then here's the different offers. So again, he is hyper focused on what he's doing, and he's got a little Q&A, right? Frequently asked questions here. And so for Jacob, I fully understand what he's offering, right? And I think that's a great testimonial for him that even without me understanding the exact words, I'm getting a pretty good sense of what he's going to be offering me. So let's pay attention to that. Now, I'm going to jump off of kind of talking about some of these specific coaching sites and go to a couple coaching, but they don't do it in sports. They're doing it for marketing and salespeople. So I'm going to jump to Aaron Fletcher with the Fletcher method. So this is his main website here. He does have a lot of different things that he does, but I want to get to the point, right? So he's like, online marketing just got way easier, right? Right up top, I'm going, okay, I know what this guy's about, right? So think back to your website. Do people really know what you're about right up front and center? Probably not. And it's a struggle, right? I think even at Coach Now, we always need to get better at this, and we've been slow to improve, I think, what we're doing as well. But he's got these different links here. So watch the webinar, the book, the platform. So while this is potentially a little bit more distracted on the offers, it's very clear, at least in the section, what he's offering. He doesn't have a bunch of different tabs that I've got to scroll through to find what he's offering me, right? So again, he's promoting this webinar. Boom, you jump in, you start to get an understanding. He's promoting this free ebook. Great. Okay, I get a better understanding of what he does that way as well. And he's got this piece of software that he's trying to pitch called Launch Maps, which is pretty dang cool. And then he's got these virtual events, right? So as we scroll down, lots of testimonials, and that's it, right? So it's a pretty dang simple page. Now we're going to jump over to Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels. This guy's, I think, selling about $100 million a year in content and software as a service. Killing it. He's helping a lot of other people do the same thing. You're going to notice no tabs anywhere, no tabs. It's all start your 14-day free trial. Here's a little information. Here's a little information. Start your trial. More information. Start your trial. Start your trial. Start your trial. Start your trial, right? So I think you're kind of getting the hint there of what I'm trying to point out is that it's very specific. So now if you want to know more about specific features, he's got these actually buried at the bottom because his whole point is like, let's just get you in. Let's get you focused on what you need to know. right? And I just want you guys to maybe take a little bit of this insight from some of these online marketing gurus of sorts and try to apply this to your own business, because I think as coaches, we tend to try to tell everybody how great we are, all the different things we've done, all the awards that we've ever won. And while those are cool and important, I guess, it distracts from what you ultimately want them to do, which is click a button on your site. And in this particular world, message you about remote coaching, sign up for remote coaching, any of those kind of things, right? So just be hyper-focused on what you want them to do. And hopefully you have some access to editing your website. If you don't, we can talk about this maybe next week on some very, very simple website builders that will give you complete freedom to edit so that you don't have to rely on a third-party service. Because honestly, a lot of the third-party services that are building websites, they're using the same web builders that you could use and just charging you a massive premium. I'm not a big fan of it. You know, a lot of people are using Squarespace and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to build you this fancy website. And for you, it'd probably take you an hour and, you know, 15 to 20 bucks to do it. So if you do have website builders out there or companies doing it for you, just make sure that they're doing things that you can't do. That's, I'll maybe leave it at that. All right. So a lot of people have asked, hey, how do you guys book sessions? Do you have some sort of integrated billing system inside of Coach Now? We don't, because a lot of you already have payment gateways or schedulers and things like that. But one that I would highly recommend if you don't already have something or you're looking to switch would be Calendly. We use this at Coach Now. We've been using it, honestly, since they were in their beta, and they continue to get better. So it's calendly.com. You can poke around. A lot of it's for free, and then even beyond that, it's like 10 bucks. The cool thing is this link on your webpage. People can clearly click onto it, book a session with you. It has some auto email responses, and you can actually collect payment through here as well by integrating with Stripe. All right. So now if we go to here, a lot of people have said, hey, Stripe versus Square, or how should we bill? My opinion, for those of you that are doing online billing and you want some sort of recurring payment, is to look at Stripe. If you want some sort of billing system that's going to have online and in-person once we get back out of the craziness here, then Square could be a good option. PayPal could be a good option. Zelle, if you're in the US, could be a good option. Venmo is not necessarily structured for businesses. I mean, people do use it as business collecting or business payment collecting, but you know, their terms of service don't necessarily support that. So I would definitely give Stripe a look if you're looking for some sort of online billing. And I would look at Calendly if you're looking for something to do some scheduling, and this integrates with Stripe, which is great. All right, so I'm gonna pause here and I'm gonna jump into some of these questions. There's more than I wanted to cover, but we're gonna jump into the questions to make sure that we are looking good here. All right, so how do you recommend sending members a welcome video? Great question, great question. All right, so I'm gonna go over to here. Hopefully you saw what I clicked. I clicked templates. All right. So what I would highly recommend is that when you're inviting people in to Coach Now for the first time, you use our template feature. It can only be applied when you create a space and or a team from the beginning. You can't apply templates, you know, after somebody's been in there for a while. That's something we would like to do, to have, you know, canned content that you can dish out, but we don't necessarily have that just yet. So one of the greatest things here is with these templates, let's just say you got this junior golf template that I created, and this is a really old one, but this gives you an opportunity to pre-populate content. You can have a welcome video, you can include drills, you can have even just a little welcome note. And then when you go back to create a space, you go to new space here, you're gonna say it's for another athlete, put their email in, and then you can select the template, and then that content's gonna be waiting for them right there when they join, which is great. So you can have this nice preloaded welcome message, hey, I'm Coach so-and-so, and then it's waiting for them as they join. Now, if they've already joined and you want to do bulk messaging, try out the segments feature. I'm not going to dive too deep into specific features on this call because I want to keep it focused on the business side. But if you do have questions about specific features, we're doing webinars hosted by my partner, Alex, Mondays and Fridays. And then there's obviously a lot of other content you can look at as you go. All right, so we talked about templates and segments, so please keep an eye on those, learn more as you go. And how are people driving signups for monthly membership services? That's a question in the beginning. I think I highlighted that a little bit, right? When you look at, let's say, Altus, right? They're describing very simply what they're offering. They're then having people pay ahead of time through Stripe or some other service, and then they're dishing them out the content either in a space or in a team. And if we go to like Toronto FC as an example, For those of you that were on the call last week, we highlighted this, but Teams, you can have these different channels and you can do this kind of online interactive community. Golf Digest is doing something very similar to that. So hopefully what I've covered so far will give you a sense of how you can do that as far as the subscription coaching in that way. All right, is there a way? Yes, so this is a question about the library. So the library is pretty dang cool. And if you use it on the mobile, anything that you capture will also be copied into the library. Now that maybe gets a little bit overwhelming for some, but if you're tagging things as they go in, it's gonna be very easy to find and then redo. Now on the mobile device, which I'll highlight in a few moments, you can use the library as a place to store video analysis ahead of time. So if you had some sort of swing model, you could draw some lines on it, and then you'd be able to store it in the library and dish it out whenever you want. So again, that is a specific kind of function question. So please make sure that you get more information on that on our other webinars. So we've got some function questions here. So I'm going to kind of try to get down to more of the business questions. Okay, here's a great question as far as what kind of content that we've seen work. So what balance between generic content and individual coaching content have you found that works the best? All right, so when we have had this conversation with groups like Golf Digest, who we work with, and why don't we just kind of click into their team and give it a quick look here. So when we spoke to them about building out some sort of community with us, the main thing that I focused on was how everything should be as personalized as possible. Now, the cool thing is with Coach Now is that you can add a video like this one from Jeff Ritter saying, hey, I'm here to help you out. And this might be a video that he's used in other ways too. But the good news is because it kicks off a conversation, it now becomes somewhat personalized. So that's the value of YouTube and other things too, right? People can leave comments. So then, even then, when you post something generic, it becomes interactive, right? So the cool thing about Coach Now, it's even more interactive, even when you're using kind of canned content. Now, the important thing though, is you need to know who your audience is. So a good example would be if you're servicing a country club membership, you would say, okay, everybody, we've noticed that you've struggled really, really hard on this particular hole or this particular bunker. And here's a video of one of us playing this particular hole and walking you through it. Now that's generic content, but at the same time, it's still targeted towards a specific audience, right? And then there's the other side where it's highly personalized, where you have a one-to-one coaching relationship like this with Christina, who I used to coach, right? So now this is one-to-one. This is very, very specific interactions. I'm obviously going to charge a premium for this kind of interaction. So we've seen coaches do it this way, where the one-to-one coaching might be $300-$500 a month. And then the more kind of interactive team community side of it, we've seen prices as high as $200 a month and prices as low as like $9.99. Again, you're collecting the payments on your end and inviting them in to our platform to deliver the value that you're promising. So hopefully that question generally answers the question. Hopefully that answer generally helps you there. So I'm going to keep going here. So this is a function question as well, but I think it's worth highlighting. Is there a way to attach multiple pieces of media to a single post? Sadly, there is not. There's not a way to do like what Instagram does, where you have like 6 things next to each other. That'd be really cool. We do have that on the roadmap, but we don't have that ability just yet. As far as bulk posting, again, though, I would encourage you to look at segments, and then templates are obviously helpful when you're first getting started. But segments will allow you to do bulk posting very, very quickly to anybody that you want. And you can list out the segments in this way. So hopefully that question or that answer helps. So for those of you that don't necessarily have your own website, great question. So let's jump over to Instagram. All right. So if you are an Instagram coach of sorts and you don't necessarily have a huge representation online, that's totally fine. Actually, in some cases, that's preferred in my opinion, because the best coaches that I've seen really, really do big businesses with remote coaching, a lot of them have very, very simple landing pages, very, very simple websites. They're not promoting, a dozen services, as I've said. So if you're not promoting a dozen services, maybe Instagram's just your way to go. So one tool that you can use, though, is these Linktree or BioFM or other things to where you can create a link that will land people on certain things. So for us, right, we've got these webinars that we're promoting. We've got some video that we want people to see, and we want them to create an account, right? That's honestly very simple stuff that we would highlight. And then we've got our very simple message here. We've got these different story highlights, which I know everybody knows how to do this stuff, and then you've got your basic posting. So a lot of coaches that don't have their own website, they're specifically promoting their remote coaching in any which way they can. And they're just saying, DM me, right? Message me for more information. Because within Coach Now, the only thing you really need from somebody is their email address. So you can say, DM me, we'll be in touch. They'll shoot you the email, you create a training space for them, invite them in. And then from there, they're gonna pay you in whichever way that you have set up. So you definitely don't need a website to be successful at this. And I think I've gone over it a number of times saying a lot of these websites probably are more complicated than they need to be. So maybe use social media as your main website. All right. Let's see. So can Coach Now set up a paid subscription? We cannot. Hopefully everything I've said has articulated that we don't have billing inside the system. Once upon a time we used to, but we no longer do that just because of the rev share fee that we would have to take. And there's so many other billing systems out there. At some point we may integrate a little more deeply with Stripe or Square or somebody else just to make it a little simpler for you. But for right now, we're focusing on what we're good at, which is delivering the coaching relationship aspect, not necessarily the billing, because billing is honestly pretty straightforward for those of you that are already doing it. All right, so please ask some more questions. We've got some good ones already here. Let's see, got some coaches giving us some nice kudos, so thank you guys for that. All right, so we're about 25 minutes in. Let's recap a little bit of where we've gone so far, right? So we've gone over the packaging. We've gone over, hey, let's try to find ways to simplify your offer, right? We've got these different examples here. We've got some of the best in the business selling hundreds of millions of dollars in online content. So let's pay attention to what we're doing as a coaching community, but more importantly, focus on what people are doing that are selling hundreds of millions of dollars a year of online content. These are the people you need to be essentially offer hacking, as they say, right? Look at what they're doing, re-engineer it for your own purposes. And again, you don't need lots and lots and lots of tabs, right? Remember, most people are going to be viewing your website on their phone, right? So I'm also consulting and I coach a lot of other founders that are in tech startups, right? And trying to help them launch their new businesses or scale their existing businesses. And in doing so, I'm always encouraging them to think, okay, what is the website going to look mobilely first? People are going to scroll up and down on their phones, especially if they're connecting to you via social media or some other way, right? They're going to look at their phone first. So the days of thinking long scrolling websites are cheesy or lame are long gone, believe me. So think about how you can operate your site or design your site to be more of scroll effective, right? A little more friendly with the scroll versus having all your links up top that eventually will get buried anyway. So let's just run an example here and see if this actually does what I think it might. I didn't test this beforehand, right? So now you've got the links buried under this hamburger here, as they call it in the tech world. And now the website's looking pretty jammed up when you're on mobile, right? So just think about mobile first and how pretty it looks on the desktop later, because honestly, that's the most important part. All right, so I've got some more questions here. All right, I'm currently in the process. Just forgive me as I read this question. Okay, yes. So this is a question for anybody that's working with kids under the age of 13. So we are one of the, if not the only coaching tool that you're going to use that actually cares about COPPA, which is the online privacy rules and regulations around kids under the age of 13. So one thing you'll notice is that when you invite somebody in and they actually admit I'm under 13, the parents are going to be asked to enter a credit card to validate parental consent. We're assuming that most 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, and such don't have access to credit cards. So that's the way that we do it. Those parents will be charged a very small amount and then refunded that same amount just to validate that the card works. And so we safeguard the privacy of anybody in the system, especially those that are on the younger side, as much as we possibly can. And when you're looking for creating some sort of team environment with junior golfers, we haven't had any issues to date with information getting out where it shouldn't have. But that said, if it does, contact us immediately and we'll jump in and make sure everybody's safe and taken care of. Because I have a young son who's 6 years old, and believe me, he doesn't have any online presence or anything. So I'm very sensitive to this kind of stuff. All right, keep those questions going. Great, got some more coming in here. Thank you so much. All right, so this is a question, would you suggest giving a free trial? Sure, of course. I think one of the things I'm noticing if I go back to the remote coaching side here is there's always an opportunity to create some sort of offer stacking, right? So free, less expensive, most expensive. So think about that as you're going. And if you're trying to get somebody to join your remote coaching program from day one, like they're a brand new person that messaged you on Instagram or something, definitely give them a free assessment, right? I would rather honestly say don't charge for the assessment, because then you're kind of already presetting your price point, which is also false for you. So what I mean by that is that you say, hey, it's a $50 assessment. Then when you say, hey, it's $500 a month, they're going, wait. You just charged me $50 for this one thing. Now you're charging me $500 for this other thing. I don't know. That doesn't necessarily jive, mathematically for me. So a lot of ways what you can do is to say, for free, I'll give you, a quick analysis or a quick assessment. And if you like what you saw, then we can have a follow-up call to discuss more of how we're going to go about creating a program for you, right? So you create this somewhat customized program for them. You're offering this relationship that they currently don't have, right? Their coach in their pocket. And with all of that bunched together, hopefully you're coming up with a price point that makes sense for them, right? So hopefully that answers the question there as far as how you can do some offer stacking. As we go through more of these calls, we're going to keep talking about this. So I would recommend, whatever website you have or whatever things you're doing between now and next week, if anybody wants to take some action steps and create their offers and then send me the links, I'd be happy to highlight them on my next call and kind of tell you what I like, maybe what I don't, give you some suggestions. And hopefully as a community, we can keep learning about how to do this. All right, so I'm going to read this next question. It's a little long, so just forgive me. I think this question I maybe just answered with the offer stacking. So there are going to be some athletes that don't necessarily want to pay ongoing or some sort of monthly fee. But I think as we go back to Altus Performance, I think just about anybody could afford $65 a month, right? So let's try to move away from hourly fees. Please, 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 whatever you can do, especially in this time, right? Everyone on the athlete side is going to want to know that they have some consistent interaction with you as their coach. And you on the business side are going to want to know, hey, I've got some recurring income, right? I've got people at least on a 2 to 3 month commitment with me, because that's the only way that they're going to improve. And that's going to be the way that I can kind of forecast my revenue, right? So that's a big reason why we at Coach Now, right? We don't charge per interaction or something like that, right? We have a monthly fee or an annual fee. 95% of our business is annual fees. So maybe think about that in your business, right? Go down to what Cameron and his team have done here. Let's get people on the hook annually, right? They write you a big check in the beginning or a medium check. And then there's no more thinking about it, right? They just write you that check and boom, you're off to the races and you can deliver any level of coaching you want, right? There's a number of coaches right now that are charging $10,000 a year, even during this time. And the reason I say that is because they were bought into Coach Now / remote coaching before all this happened. So a lot of their athletes were already familiar with this kind of interaction, right? And I've been talking about this for years. Please have some sort of online remote relationship, subscription relationship with your students, because you never know if you break your leg, you get sick, and who would have forecasted that we had this crazy time? But these are all things that even when we move out of COVID and all this lockdown, you're going to need to have a balance of in-person and remote. You just have to. And you need to make sure that your in-person students or athletes are familiar with paying you monthly, like a gym membership, versus paying you hourly. Because if everything's hourly, you're going to keep having to hunt for all that food, so to speak, right? You want to build a farm, right? You want all that stuff coming to you no matter what. You want something that's sustainable rather than going to have to hunt and gather for your business for the rest of your life. So while hourly is still an option, my vote is, especially during this time, try to be creative. Try to get people $65 a month for one quick analysis, $100 a month for one analysis a week, whatever it is, right? And I think that's really, really important for all of us to consider. And we've got coaches here jumping in saying, I recommend Stripe, totally. Gentleman named Sean Humphreys, who is definitely a business guru in the world of coaching. So if he says it, I would vote for it as well. He's done some massive online business with content. All right. So we are pretty much right at our time window. I'm willing to stay on for another couple minutes if any of you have more questions. I didn't necessarily get to everything that I wanted to today, but I do want to be sensitive to our time windows each week so that you're not just here for hours with me. But if you do want to stay on for another 5 minutes or so, I'm happy to answer any more questions. Now, but before we officially jump, if you are brand new to Coach Now and you think, oh man, this looks cool, but how do I get started? The basic pricing as such is $299 a year. And that's what I'm going to be promoting because that's the best price. And honestly, everything I've told you, right? That's the thing that I would want to anchor on. But if you're brand new, we're offering an extended 30-day free trial instead of our 2-week free trial. Just contact us and we'll go into your account and hook you up with that. And then for your first year, since all this crazy stuff is happening, if you're not a current subscriber, we'll happily give you 25% off either our monthly plan or our annual plan. Obviously, the annual plan's a better deal. But we want to make sure that you can have success with remote coaching during this. And also to kind of piggyback off of the specifics on how the business model works is that we do not charge per athlete. You can have as many athletes, as many parents in here as you want. Our customers are you, the coaches. We work with, our bread and butter is multi-coach facilities, academies, national teams. So that's how we generate our revenue. We don't want to handicap you though in growing your business. So you can use Coach Now with as many people as you want on the educational, instructional side. So just jump in, start your free trial if you haven't. If you're out of your trial, jump on and take advantage of the discount. And we're here to support you not only in the software, but education, things like this. All right. All right, on the fly changes. Jordan coming in. Let's see. Let's do a little refresh here and see some of the offer stacking here from our man. All right, so we're going to click remote coaching. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, here we go. Nice job. All right. What is virtual online coaching? Awesome. I love that there's a Q&A here. He's highlighting some of the software he uses. He uses Coach Now, V1 for some analysis. We have analysis built in as well, but some coaches like to use, things they're more familiar with or maybe that are a tiny bit more robust on the analysis side. So that's cool. Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, great. And he's got these different educational piece. Well done, Jordan. All right, and we've got some offer stacking. Cool, good, nice, man. Good, good, good. So this is already much improved just within a few moments. So this is awesome, right? So as a person coming in here, I understand the price points, got some cool interactions. Let's see how it stacks up mobily. All right, so mobily, it doesn't process as smooth as maybe you're gonna want, but down when we get to the offers, it definitely does. So that's very cool. Well done, Jordan and team. All right, stoked on that. All right, thank you, Sean, for saying, coaches, you're doing a disservice if you're not using Coach Now. I appreciate that very much, man. So Jordan, nice jobs on the fly. Thank you for letting me kind of beat up your website a little bit. Hopefully it wasn't too rough on you. And again, we're going to be doing this every week. So every week's going to be a little different. Some weeks I'm going to actually be having coaches join me for a live Q&A. Again, we're going to be taking all the questions that we get throughout the week and hopefully answering them here and also giving you a forum to ask them while we're on the call. So this has been great. All right, everybody, I think we've reached it. Everyone here has asked their questions, except there's one more. So let me try to get to this one. If you guys got to jump, feel free to do it. What sort of? Okay, interesting. Okay, so I'm not sure I fully understand the question here, but I will say as far as some of the numbers that coaches are seeing as far as how many people they're working with, we have coaches delivering remote coaching in the team environment to thousands of athletes at once, right? So that's something to consider. You could charge, $10 a month, $15 a month, invite your entire Rolodex in and build that community, right? Especially if you have been working at a country club or at a gym or anything like that. You have a long list of people that you've worked with in the past. Why not give them the opportunity, if they haven't been paying you now, to pay you for one-to-one remote coaching or to be a part of your interactive community through Coach Now? So that's a great opportunity. As far as numbers, dollars-wise, again, I've gone over a lot of the different things that people are charging, so you'll just kind of have to do the math there. But honestly, during this time, I just wonder how valuable $5,000, US would be to everyone on this call. Right? Can you get 20 people paying you $250 a month? Can you get 10 people paying you $500 a month to have their coach in their pocket, to have this coach on retainer to where they can practice and do anything and everything? Probably, right? Because a lot of people still have access to either their local course for the range, or as those are closing down, they have opportunities to improve at home with your guidance. So with that, I'm going to be sensitive to everybody's time. Thank you so much. If we didn't answer your questions today, please do it. Or sorry, if I didn't answer your questions today, please jump on to next week or send us questions in the meantime. This call was recorded. Hopefully it'll be helpful for those that watch it again. I kind of bounced all over the place, so I'm not sure, but we'll see. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here again today. We're going to wrap this puppy up. Thanks again.